Hello, my name is Yasche, and I'm going to be talking today about Maya numerals, specifically using the Kaqchikel Maya language, which is one of the highlands languages. It's spoken in some of the better known parts of Guatemala, like Guatemala City, Antigua, Lake Atitlan. Now, first off, you might be wondering who I am. Well, obviously, you can tell by my face, I'm not Mayan. I'm an American. I studied Kaqchikel at university here in the U.S., probably the only one I know that has a US-based Kaqchikel program. My teacher was an American, my fellow students were Americans. I did live in Guatemala, but that was only for 1 month. And that was all about 5 years ago. So in 5 years, I haven't had one conversation in Kaqchikel. I'm starting to forget the whole language. So I want to make these videos partially as a way to remind myself and keep in practice. Now, so you know, I'm using information mostly out of this book, which is the textbook we used in the first semester of class. It's also written by an American, Judith Maxwell, also known as Ishkanil. So, starting off, first number we're going to cover is not 1, it is 0. As you may know, the Maya did have a concept of 0. This is something that not a lot of people in the ancient world did. They had one in India, the Maya did, and because of this, the Maya were really great astronomers. They had advanced mathematics that a lot of the world didn't have. Even the ancient Greeks didn't have that. So, you know, my ancestors, most of which are European, we learned the concept of 0 from the Arabs. The Arabs learned it from India. So it was really going back 1,500, 2,000 years ago. Mayans and Indians that were the intellectual center of the world, at least as far as mathematics and astronomy. 0 is Wa'ish. After Wa'ish, Hun is 1, 2 is Ka'i, 3 is Oshi, Kaji, Wo'o, Waqi, Wuqu, Waqxaqi, Lajuj. Then 11, if you remember, Hun is 1, Lajuj is 10, 11 is Julajuj. Simple enough so far, right? Kab'lajuj, Oxlajuj, Kajlajuj, Wolajuj, Waqlajuj, Wuqlajuj, Waqxaqlajuj, Lajuj. And 20, usually you'll hear people say Juk'al. The root is gal, Hun, 1, Juk'al, Hun, gal. One group of 20. You might also hear people say Winak. That varies from one dialect to another. Winak also means person. The reason behind that, well, one person is 10 fingers, 10 toes, so a group of 20 digits, one Winak, a complete person. As you may have heard, Maya count using a base 20 system rather than a base 10 like we use. That basically means we count by groups of 10. 20 is 2 groups of 10. In Maya, well, it's only one group of 20. It's gal or rukak'al. 19 to us is a group of 10 plus 9 on the side. Maya, it's one group of Lajuj. So if you wanted to say 40 in Kaqchikel, that would be 2 groups of 20, Ka'i groups of gal. So Kap'gal. Then 60 is Oxlajuj. 80 is Kaqchikel. And we go on like that. 100 doesn't get a special thing like it does in English. It gets, you know, we don't say 60, 70, 80, 90, 10, we say 100. So in Kaqchikel, it's nothing special. It's just Waqal, 5 groups of 20. Then we go on, we have 120, Waqal, Wuqal, Waqxaqal. Double check to make sure I'm getting that right because I do have all this written out, but I lost my place. Waqxaqal, Beleqal, and 10 groups of 20 is Laqal, Lajuqal, then Julajuj, Kab'lajuj, Oxlajuj, Kajlajuj, Wolajuj, Waqlajuj, Wuqlajuj, Waqxaqlajuj, Beleqal. What is that? 380. After that, you have 20 groups of 20. And just like you have to have a special word for 10 groups of 10 in English, you say 100. You have to have a special word for 20 groups of 20. And that word is not widely spoken anymore, but in case you want to know, it is Wuqu. Wuqu is 400. Now, 20 groups of Wuqu you call Wuqui. 20 groups of Wuqui, you call that Juk'al. Juk'al, 160,000. There is another major difference in the way Mayas traditionally think about numbers versus the way we're accustomed to. And that is, it's something that you'll not really see a whole lot in people today because, well, ever since the Spanish conquest, the idea has basically been to kind of sideline Maya languages and get them all speaking Spanish. They'll just forget about the words they used to use. And, well, editorials aside, that's just the way things have been going. So, but traditionally, if you wanted to say, for example, 21, in English, 2 groups of 20 plus one that's kind of just hanging there by itself. In Maya languages, in Kaqchikel, that would be, well, the modern way is exactly what you'd think. You would say 20 is Juk'al hun. The old-fashioned way to do it, the traditional way, that's a little different. You would say hun rukak'al. Now, what is that? Well, first off, hun we know is 1. Gal, hun gal is 20. Kaqchikel, Kaqchikel, remember, is 40. Why hun rukak'al? Well, let me give you a little sidetrack. That ru on the front of Kaqchikel, that's a possessive. That means of the 40. So you would have one group of 20, a second group of 20, but that second group of 20 is incomplete. It only has 1 in it. Hun rukak'al, one of the second group of 20. So going on like that, 22 would be ka'i rukak'al, 23 would be oshi rukak'al. Now, suppose you wanted a bigger number, just as a for example, so we understand the concept. Let's say 75. All right, so you've got your 3 full groups of 20. That's Juk'al, Kaqchikel, and Oxlajuj. So by the new system, the Spanish influence system, that would be Oxlajuj, and then 15 left over, which is Wolajuj. The old system, Juk'al, Kaqchikel, Oxlajuj, then you would have to take the 4th group of 20, that's 80, that's Kaqchikel. Now, so you would have 15 from the 4th group of 20. Wolajuj, rukak'al. That is 75. So, let's review. Starting off at 0, and I'm going to count to 60 just to show the concept, and if it's not clear, maybe this will help. 0, wa'ish, hun, 1. 2 is ka'i, oshi, kaji, wo'o, waqi, wuqu, waqxaqi, belehe, lajuj. 11, Julajuj, Kab'lajuj, Oxlajuj, Kajlajuj, Wolajuj, Waqlajuj, Wuqlajuj, Waqxaqlajuj, Belejuj, and 20 is Juk'al. After 20, starting at 21, hun rukak'al, from the second group of 20, 1 from the group of 40, hun rukak'al, ka'i rukak'al, oshi rukak'al, kaji rukak'al, wo'o rukak'al. See, wo'o, losing my fingers because I'm looking at everything else, sorry. Wo'o rukak'al, waqi rukak'al, wuqu rukak'al, waqxaqi rukak'al, belehe rukak'al, lajuj rukak'al. 10 of the second group of 20. That's 10 and 20 is 30. 31. Julajuj rukak'al, Kab'lajuj rukak'al, Oxlajuj rukak'al, Kajlajuj rukak'al, Wolajuj, rukak'al, Waqlajuj, rukak'al. Excuse me, haven't practiced in a while, that's why I have it written down. Wolajuj, Waqlajuj, Wuqlajuj, rukak'al, 17 of the second group. 17 of the second group of 20. 17 out of 40 is 37. Waqxaqlajuj, rukak'al, Kajlajuj, rukak'al, and now we get to a complete Kaq'al, 40. Now of the next group, the group of 60, Hun Roshkal, remember Oshkal is 3 groups of 20, that's 60, Oshkal, plus the possessive is Roshkal. So Hun Roshkal, one of the third group of 60, that's 41. Ka'i Roshkal, Oshi Roshkal, Kaji Roshkal, Wo'o Roshkal, Waqi Roshkal, Wuqu Roshkal, Waqxaqi Roshkal, Belehech Roshkal, Lahuj Roshkal. Get into 11 of the third group of 20. Julajuj Roshkal, Kab'lajuj Roshkal, Oxlajuj Roshkal, Kajlajuj Roshkal, Wolajuj Roshkal, Waqlajuj Roshkal, Wuqlajuj Roshkal, Waqxaqlajuj Roshkal, Belelajuj Roshkal, and finally we get into the complete Oshkal. So, thank you for watching the video this far. It has, well, I have needed the practice, and hopefully if you learned something, hopefully my stuttering hasn't bored you to death. So, I'm hoping to be making more Kaqchikel videos in the future, maybe some videos in other languages I've studied, and some of these will be on topics related to Kaqchikel grammar, some will be related to things that are of interest to me on other subjects. So, because this is a difficult language for me, it may be a while before I get my next video out, but I will try. I do have a job, 3 regular jobs actually, sheet jobs, that I'm trying to balance with this new YouTube thing that I don't have a handle on very well. But thanks for bearing with me. See you later.